I've been a Charlotte Hornets fan for the last 9 years, and last night was genuinely the biggest accomplishment we've had as a franchise in winning the Summer League championship. And maybe I'm way overreacting to this, but it feels like the culture in Charlotte is starting to shift. The moves Jeff Peterson and the front office have been able to do this offseason have been fantastic. Bringing back Tre Mann was my favorite, but they also bring in Collin Sexton, a dynamite scorer to bring in off the bench. They draft Kon Knueppel, Liam McNeely, Ryan Kalkbrenner, and Sion James, all of which were winners, and helped bring in a more energetic, more winning culture. And I think it's starting to shift here in Charlotte, finally. And shout out to Jeff the Chef, because he has been cooking this year. Yes, he brings in the Pat Connaughton edition, which a lot of people are like, what in the world? Well, we get 2 second-round picks out of it. Pat Connaughton probably won't play many games for us, if any. He also brings in Spencer Dinwiddie and Mason Plumlee, 2 pretty solid veterans, especially Dinwiddie. Plumlee not so much, just because we need center depth, but Dinwiddie will be a nice veteran addition at the guard spot. We have a ton of guards, including Tre Mann, who we just talked about. They bring back on a steal of a deal at 3 years, $24 million. I mean, that is just an absolute robbery right there. And they bring him back, a guy that could go out and win 6th Man of the Year if given the keys off the bench, although he's going to be having to compete with Colin Sexton in his own bench backcourt, which is going to be ridiculous. But he averaged 14, 3, and 3 last year in just like 25 minutes a game, shot 44% from the field and 40% from 3. And like I said, he only played 13 games. He was well on his way to a 6th Man of the Year caliber season last year before getting hurt, injuring his back, and being out for the rest of the season, just like that. And then Colin Sexton, who they also bring in, and usually you don't want your GM on the phone with a guy like Danny Ainge, the master finesser, but this time we got lucky. We get Colin Sexton for basically nothing for Jusuf Nurkic. We also got a 2nd round pick out of this, a guy that averaged 18.5 points a game last year on 48% shooting from the field and 41% from beyond the arc. A really, really good value deal for Colin Sexton there, who is 6'2" with a 6'7" wingspan, and paired up with Tre Mann off this bench, that's going to be a lights-out 1-2 punch. I don't know about the defense necessarily coming off the bench, but still, that's going to be a really, really nice 1-2 punch coming off of our bench unit. And per 36, last year, Sexton averaged 24 a game with 5.5 assists, because remember, he only played in about 28 minutes a night and was still able to put up 18.5 points per game. Now, I love the Kon Knueppel addition. He has looked really, really good in the Summer League, winning Summer League MVP, and the fit that he brings in this roster is going to be wonderful. I mean, sure, you could have had a Ace Bailey or a Trey Johnson, but you go out and get Kon Knueppel, and he's going to be a guy that can come in, be a connector between Brandon Miller and LaMelo Ball, a guy that can impact the game without having to necessarily touch the basketball, and on both ends, on offense and defense. Fantastic 2-foot driver, 6'6" with a 6'6" wingspan, so he's got a perfect build to be a modern day NBA shooting guard, and you fit him in between LaMelo and Brandon Miller, who are also 6'7", 6'8", in that range. Kon's a guy that averaged 14.5 points, 4 boards, 2.7 assists, and a steal in 30 minutes a game on 48% shooting from the field and 40% from 3 on 5.5 attempts a game. An absolute sniper. They can sit in the corner and hunt the 3 ball. In the Summer League, he averaged 15.6 points a game, 4.8 rebounds, and 3.8 assists in 5 games played, And like I said, the culture is shifting. The only thing that the Hornets have won in my generation of being a Hornets fan, or in general since they came back to Charlotte, and it's at the head of Kon Knueppel, who leads the way. Here he is coming off of a pin down from Kon Knueppel and knocking down the 3 ball. Here he is coming off of a flare screen from Kon Knueppel and knocking down yet another 3 ball. And then right here, just working off the bounce, going right at RJ Davis for the bucket. He's 215 pounds and can be an absolute monster coming out of the pick and roll, coming off of pin downs, getting to that left hand, getting to that right hand, whichever way he goes. He's a pick and roll playmaker as well, throwing the lob right there and then getting downhill off the lob to Malawach as well. Mark Williams was shipped off in exchange for Liam McNeely, and I think this was a great pick. Mark was great. I loved Mark in Charlotte, but he was just never healthy, and that's the unfortunate part. They bring in Liam McNeely, and the second time they traded Mark Williams, actually. The first time, of course, got repealed, but hey, it looks like we won, getting Liam McNeely instead of Dalton Knecht, who averaged 14.5 and 6 in college, and then went out and balled out in his summer league debut with 22 and like 11 with 6 assists. He only shot 38% from the field and 32% from 3 last year, but it's because he wasn't really playing in a role he was comfortable in. Now this year, with guys like Sexton, LaMelo, and Brandon Miller feeding him the rock at 6'8" with a 6'8" wingspan, being a catch and shoot guy, he is going to get a ton of touches, and I think he's going to be fantastic this year for Charlotte. Now, as for Kalkbrenner, bringing him in, hopefully he can develop into a starting center for us down the road. Right now, he's probably going to have to be the backup in year 1 and work his way into that role. He didn't look fantastic in the summer league. Looked all right, nothing exceptional. 7'2" with a 7'6" wingspan, so there is a spot in the league for him. He's just kind of slow overall. He can move his feet well laterally, but up and down the court, north and south, he's not the quickest guy in the world. 19.2 points a game, 8.7 rebounds, 2.7 blocks, 65% shooting from the field, 34% from 3, and we did see him hit a 3 last night in the championship game. He does have that traditional big bag where he can back you down and get to spots in the post, but then he can also face up and knock down the 3 ball as well. Here's his face-up game where he's going to catch it on a low block face and then spin, get to that left hook. And it's a really nice face-up game as he rips through. I know this is against Texas Rio Grande Valley, but still, he's showing it off. If he can do it, it's still a Division I level basketball team. He's a 4-time Big East Defensive Player of the Year, so you can't take that away from him, as he is an absolute juggernaut on the defensive side of the ball. Same thing with Sion James, who I'm really excited to see. He only played in a couple of summer league games before getting injured, but he's not necessarily a big-time scorer. He can just really defend. 8.6 points a game, 4.2 rebounds, 3 assists, and 0.8 steals in 25 minutes per game last year at Duke. Shot 52% from the field and 41% from 3, so he's really a 3-and-D guy. And he's 6'5", 6'6", somewhere in that range, and he's a big dude. He's got a 6'7" wingspan, and he's built like an NFL linebacker at 220 pounds coming downhill. That's not easy to stop. Here he is getting downhill against my NC State Wolfpack. Dreadful year for us, but for Duke, it was a big-time season. You see the IQ flashing there, coming off of that screen and just slipping it right to the rim. Remember, at Tulane, he averaged 14 a game with 5.5 rebounds, 2.7 assists, and 1.6 steals. But all the rookies we drafted are going to bring in championship DNA, are from high-tier programs, blue-collar programs. They're going to come in, and they're going to be able to contribute from day one, some of them. You add Kon into this lineup. We talked about that earlier. Looking at the bench unit, McNeely could shift in there for Josh Green, but I'm excited to get Grant Williams back, Trey Mann, Colin Sexton, like we talked about, and then Spencer Dinwiddie and Lee McNeely. Don't know where they're going to fit into the lineup, and even Tijon Salon. There's 13, 14 guys here in Charlotte that can play NBA minutes, and that's a first for the first time in quite a while, honestly. Salon averaged about 6 points a game, 4.5 rebounds, and 1.2 assists, and I was a little bit, giving up on him pretty much after last season, but he did show some flashes in the summer league, averaging about 18.5 points a game and like 8 rebounds, so that's nice. 33% shooting from the field, 28% from 3 for him on 3.5 attempts a game. Pretty solid overall. Did hit this big shot against the Heat in the regular season, and look, Charlotte's a basketball city. That is a packed out crowd for a team that has like 3 wins. And they're still showing up. They're still showing out. The people of Charlotte deserve better than what the Hornets have given them as of late. And hopefully the culture is shifting. With that being said, that's going to be it for today's video. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure to hit the like button. Leave me a comment down below and hit that subscribe button if you did enjoy at any point. And with all that being said, thanks so much for watching today's video.